Welcome back to another season of Used to Sew, a podcast about sewing machines, sewing history, and sewing culture in the past and present. I am your producer and co-host, Aradia, daughter of your main host, T.R. Kelly, who is here today to talk to you about collecting vintage sewing machines wisely. This episode's purpose is to reacquaint ourselves with the purposes of the podcast, starting with one of the most foundational skills: how to keep your love of sewing machines from becoming a hoarding problem. We work through the 4 journalistic W's: why, what, who, and where, as applied to sewing machine collecting, with plenty of our usual chaotic tangents. I even attempt to make an analogy from D&D into the episode, though I'm not sure I got the nerdy deep cut quite as deep as I wanted. We hope you enjoyed our month of rewinds on the podcast feed, and are excited to share a new season of info dumps with you.
Welcome back to another season of Used to Sew. This is season 3. We're recording this, pre-recorded before a studio audience, or how did they
Insert generic laugh track here.
I was going to say, put some canned laughter in. But you guys will be hearing this in the first Sunday in January. I'm not even sure what the number is of that. New year, new topics, but same old framework. Yeah. I was listening to some of our earlier episodes, like season 1 stuff, when we were just figuring it all out and our tech wasn't so great, and the topics were, I tended to just not over-research. I tended to just rant about stuff that I really didn't know about so much. So all those early episodes where I didn't get things quite right, I'm sorry. And if you write me a letter and tell me what I got wrong, I'll send you a sticker. So, Ray, refresh us again about why are we here?
So when we first decided to make this podcast, the idea was that you had a lot of sewing machine info dumps to go on, with lots of side quests into the history of the sewing machine in broad, not just the engineering of it, but how it fit into stuff, as well as your experiences with the commercial sewing world. And we kind of branched that out into talking about sewing machines, sewing culture, and sewing history, as I say in the intro, but also dealing with fast fashion and extolling the virtues of having vintage machines. And in the course of the last 2 seasons, we've really learned that we enjoy the history stuff a lot. We really like going onto the social and economic and geopolitical implications of how the sewing machine fits into things, and using that as like a lens through which to understand the 19th and 20th centuries. And we've really not focused a lot on fast fashion as much. And we've definitely talked a lot about crafting projects, but without ever getting into like the nuts and bolts of crafting. And we've talked a lot about various video projects we want to do and haven't quite overcome the technical hurdles to doing that. But I think that our core mission of making people think about sewing machines, whether as a historical focus point or as a tool for having a fun hobby / dealing with fast fashion, I think that those themes have stayed true. We keep sort of warping around how exactly we do it, but that core feature is still there. And like I said in the season 2 wrap up, we've really run off the overburden of steam on your info dumps, and now you're having to dig deeper into learning more stuff, right? You used to have just all these things that you needed to say and get out, and now we're at this lovely simmer where it's like there's an endless carousel of topics, but every one of them requires a level of research that is more predictable. Like you said, I wouldn't say you over-researched in the first season, but you were really, really excited and didn't know how to contain the excitement and like package it properly. And now we have a better sense for the size of chunks we want to talk about and the level of depth we want to go to and the kinds of resources we want to have. And it's more predictable now. And yeah, we're having to go deeper into it. I definitely also have gotten really into my little intro outro pieces,
Oh, yeah.
which feel less necessary now because the episodes are more structured. At the beginning, they were just kind of these blasts of info dumps. So I was like, I have to package them. But now we have more of a beginning, middle, end, even to our discussions. But I also really like my little research rabbit holes that I will put in at the beginning and end.
Yeah. I totally love that. To me, that's like preview reel or something, but for the movie you're actually going to see. So it kind of tells you what to get ready for. Oh boy, I should get popcorn, or I should go make some coffee, or I should go get a project to sit down and work on while I listen to these folks. But yeah, in the beginning, I was just so excited to actually have a place to put my excitement about vintage sewing machines, and I just kind of ranted a lot all over the place. But I think we were trying to keep it to these three discrete pillars. And now I think as we've gone along, we've kind of, which is sewing machines, sewing culture, sewing history, which is like fast fashion, the whole thing. I think we have started to kind of blend all those threads in each episode and give more like holistic pictures, and sometimes a little deep dive into one or the other, but not so, okay, today we're only going to talk about the 301. Now it'd be like, we're going to talk about the 301 and what history was going on and why does it look like that and how did they market it. And so you get this bigger picture. So I think we're kind of looking at our world through the lens of sewing machines, which, because they've been a women's thing, this is kind of a subversively feminist topic to even be having a podcast about, right? This is some women's history here.
It is.
Not all women, and some men, and the definition of women is shade. I mean, but when we're speaking in a historical sense, sewing and stuff is a women's issue, but how it intersected with capitalism and business, which was mostly a man's issue, this is a real point of interesting friction. And also how it, between colonialism and indigenous people, and the sewing machine was a thing that was being brought all over the world to people's like, whoa, what's this? Speaking of, last year I told you guys I ordered this book. It's called Fabricating Consumers.
Ooh, that's a clever title.
Isn't that a great title? The Sewing Machine in Modern Japan.
Uh-huh.
Wow. So I this was not a cheap book because it's a scholarly thing, but I'm just only...
Oh, right. Yeah. I remember sending you some Patreon money for that.
Patreon money. Thank you, our Patreons, for buying this book, because it is going to be so much episode fodder. And I'm only going to tell you one thing about it right now. There's a difference between Japanese sewing and Western sewing that made it hard for them to accept the sewing machine in the first place. And I'm like, what in the world could that be? Their clothes are put together with loose hand stitching so they can be taken apart and cleaned. And the machine couldn't do that, right? So there was a hand sewing culture that was tied to their national dress. So it was, very anti-Japanese to want to use this machine. And anyway, it's a great book. I look forward to sharing it with you in huge parts, but right now I'm still getting into it.
Wow. So that's going to be a thing that we get to cover across this season, is new insights coming out of this book. So stay tuned for that as a recurring thread this season.
Yeah. Recurring thread. I like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm being very clever.
It's other since last we spoke. I hope y'all had good holidays, whatever you did or didn't celebrate. Hope you survived through all that. I went out not shopping Black Friday, but I did go out on a thrift Saturday out to Florence to see what I could see, because I hadn't been in any sort of retail establishment for quite a while since we've been doing the job site over in the desert. So I really wanted to go thrifting. I wanted to look for some fabric and some bias tape. I've actually got some holiday sewing that I had to do. And I walked in to the St. Vinny's in Florence and saw some of those same machines that you had seen.
Oh, still. Wow.
Still. So that little curvy necky that was still there, that real interesting looking one. So I walked up to it and I grabbed it, and it's metal. And it had all of its attachments, and it had a book, and it had all this cool stuff. So I took a picture of it. And then when I got home, I looked it up. Like, okay, what is this machine? Necky Lydia Mark II Model 544. Okay. Read all about it. Apparently, it's a really good little sewing machine, and the Italian design lines, of course, are splendid. A lot of people collect these even when they don't work. What happens to them that they don't work? Can you guess?
It's a well-made machine from Italy.
From about the 70s or 80s, I think. It's 1970s.
Okay. And it's little. I'm going to guess that there was a really critical part that was replaced with some kind of plastic.
Yes. This is from the era of we're replacing metal cams with plastic stuff inside. So the cam stack that the fingers rotate through to pick the different stitches, the cam stack itself is cracked.
That makes sense.
This killed my FAF 1222 not once but twice. Two different machines. So a cracked cam stack, sooner or later it's going to break in half and fall out. But while it's cracked, the stitches are not, it's not working right. If you can change the stitch knobs and stuff. So when I tried that machine, clicked it through the stitches, everything still turned. So I don't know if that little machine at Florence had a cracked cam stack. But as I read through on the net everybody's experiences with this machine, that is definitely the weak spot. No serviceable parts inside, but someone who's into neckies, this is a sweet little machine. And if you did put a new cam stack in, it'd be good for the rest of your life because they're different now. They're better. People aren't putting oil on them, da 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 da. But not in my wheelhouse. Not even for free. Which brings me to today's topic. For real.
Ooh, nice segue.
How to collect vintage sewing machines wisely. Okay? Notice what I just said there, that even free machines have a cost. Where are you going to put it? What are you going to do with it? Do you have a specific plan for it, or is just it's free? Some people just can't resist free, whatever it is. Free sewing machine. Oh yeah, I'm going to take that home. And add it to the pile of other free sewing machines people have given me. I've collected. Da, 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 da. Can you tell I'm speaking from experience here?
I may have seen this happen once or twice.
Free machines cost, and not only do you have to find a place to put them, then it's in the little Rolodex of your brain. There's another machine in there. Which one was that? Was that the green one? Did it need a motor, or was it, pretty soon that really neat pile of, oh, that's neat, I'm going to fix that, has turned into rusty junk with mice living in it. I've seen it happen to myself twice, almost 3 times, and a couple friends of mine who are into collecting machines and other cool mechanical stuff. Same deal. You've got such good ideas. So I read a lot of groups online with vintage sewing machine collectors, and especially on places like Facebook, where it's a lot of new collectors and there's a group and everybody they're asking the same questions. And pretty soon you start getting a lot of these posts about, oh my God, I think I've got a problem. I need an intervention. Lol, joke. They joke about addiction and, oh gosh, I think I need an intervention. I found this really cool pink brother today. And I had to hide it from my husband and oh, now we're starting to talk the language of addiction here, folks. What does this have to do with sewing machines, TR? This has to do with collecting vintage sewing machines wisely. When you first discover them and there's that whole new relationship energy about how cool they are, and you just, if it's shaped like a sewing machine, you're going to buy it. Back in season 1, we did a story about a lady named Betty, and she had passed on and her collection was being auctioned off, and I went through and described the collection, and this kind of sounded like Betty could not pass it up if it was a sewing machine.
Yeah, I remember that looking through the catalog of hers because there would be these pockets of amazing, beautiful, awesome machines, and then just these swaths of very boring machines. Like there had been no discrimination, no discernment,
Yes.
no sorting. It was a total mishmash.
Yes. She had a good heart. She believed she was saving them for people to use. As we've talked about in many episodes, there's way more sewing machines than people that want them, and that's true. When you're buying one from someone for hundreds of dollars, you're not buying the machine, you're buying their expertise and time and care with cleaning it and putting it back together and getting it in sewing condition. That's what you're buying. You're not buying the machine. You're buying somebody's time, very skilled time. Again, free machines are not free. Does it work? Okay, well, maybe somebody gave you one. If it's somebody you know, hey, this is Aunt Gladys's machine, a little oil and you're good to go. Look at a few videos on YouTube, how to oil the 404 Slant-O-Matic. Somebody has made that video because there's those of us out there who do want to save them all. However, you get to a point where space, storage, money, those are the things. Space is like, okay, where are you physically going to put them? Storage is, how are you going to keep them safe and not deteriorating, because you've crammed them into the barn or the garage or the crawl space or some other unheated, moldy place, right? So storage. And then, of course, money. People talking about, oh, I hid this from my husband. No. Okay, it's funny, but it's not. So let's make a framework. Does anybody out there see themselves in this? I know Aradia doesn't. She's not with sewing machines, maybe books.
It's not hoarding if it's books. That's the rule.
Or fabric, people say. But, I mean, people have their little darlings that, sewing machine. Since I worked with them and they were around me all the time, this is like the alcoholic that works at the bar, right? Wow, 5 cool things were traded in today. They're going home with me because they're not saleable, or I buy them for $5 a piece from the store, which is a profit. Okay, anyway, so you get to a point where, back to the title of this episode, how to collect vintage sewing machines wisely. So let's play journalism kind of thing here. Who, what, where, when, why, how. Remember back in journalism school, that's all your news story, your first paragraph should contain those things. Well, let's think about, for sewing machines, why, what, who, where, when, and how. And let's go through that. Why? Why vintage sewing machines? Aradia, name some reasons people might collect vintage sewing machines. Collect them or be interested in them. Why would somebody want one?
They look really cool because they're old, and modern stuff doesn't look cool like old stuff looks cool. It's way higher quality, higher manufacturing standards, made out of metal, better materials. And it could have some kind of historical value to you as a person, or maybe you want to do something period specific. People who want to do reenactments or movie sets or, whatever, like maybe they're going for a very specific need, or maybe you have a personal particular interest in collecting like a certain kind of one for its historical value. But those are the 3 main reasons. They look cool, they work good, and they come from specific eras, which has a variety of artistic values.
That's good. That's good.
You've trained me well.
Here's what I came up with. History, meaning for the machine's own sake, historical value. Some people want to collect, for a specific period, or, and another reason people buy VSMs is like what you just said about it's better made and all that. Tools, they buy them to be a tool. So that's different. Some people actually think they can buy them as an investment. This is where you get those, how much is my sewing machine worth?
Yeah, no, I would never suggest that. That is not the way.
For a few people, it is. But this comes down to tinkering, A lot of people like to just buy stuff and tinker with it, mechanically minded, right? And making a business out of that because there aren't many. I mean, somebody says, well, is there anybody near me? Geez, I don't know. A lot of us don't
Oh,
advertise. We're
yeah.
basement hobbyists here.
It's a dying hobby with an introvert streak a mile wide and deep.
You know, who's your local goofy old appliance repairman back in his shop? These guys don't advertise. They're probably not paying taxes. It's not like it's this hobby business. But if you know what machines people want and you can make them go and guarantee them, you'll have business. Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, a friend of ours and our unofficial sponsor, is doing just that. Now, he doesn't even buy and fix machines anymore. He only does customer restorations and repairs
That's awesome.
because he doesn't, the other stuff is, that's just what it is. But, I know if he ran across a featherweight at a yard sale for $10, he'd certainly snap it up. But as far as just like buying a bunch of machines and I'm going to fix them up someday because they're valuable, a lot of us have gotten into that. But your skill is fixing them. If you learn how to fix them and you're confident and you can stand behind your work, you'll do okay. Where to advertise? Quilt shops and cosplays and cons and stuff like that. Any place where people are selling their own stuff, you hand out a business card. Don't make, a big deal out of it. But this is, hey, I'm the guy. I'm the one. So that could be a reason. Collecting free machines because you're going to take them apart and then recycle them after you learn what the guts tell you, that's worthy.
I mean, yes, as an engineering puzzle, that is a very affordable hobby to be getting machines and tinkering with them and putting them back together. I mean, that is an incredibly affordable way to have a puzzle itch get scratched.
Oh, and I was sitting there and Randy looked at me and goes, didn't you take that one apart last week? I go, yeah. Haven't you ever heard of doing a puzzle over? It's like, it's 3D jigsaw puzzles for me. I really enjoy it. And yeah. So why? Why do you want you to sit down? Is it like some kind of emotional knee-jerk reaction to a memory of a sewing machine? Just be honest with yourself. Why do I want to do this? Now, what machines do you want to collect? There is a zillion, not just household machines and all their manufacturers, but industrial machines. Not many people collect those, but there are some. And there's some that buy them actually for the tool value. But what? Which machines? Some, Singer is very much collected. A lot of people collect only the little very first, like 1850s patent models and all the strange stuff. Some people collect pink machines. Doesn't matter what, it doesn't even have to sew. And there's another thing. Myself, I do not collect something that won't sew. I do not like non-functional antiques. I've got 3 old vintage irons. They all work. If it's here, it works. If it doesn't work, pass it on to somebody else and let them mess with it. Don't keep stuff that doesn't work. So what? Which machines do you want? Figure that out. If you got a list, I've still got a list. It's not very long anymore because space is my constraint. But narrow your focus. Narrow your focus. If you're going to collect or if you're looking for a specific machine, I want a Singer 319W in mint green. Don't just go out and buy every orange brother because you want the green Singer, okay? Narrow the focus. Who? Who do you believe? Who do you trust? Who do you learn from? Oh, there is a lot of excellent sewing machine websites, and there's also a lot of garbage that's been generated by AI or SEO or cut and paste. And how many ads will you stand before this is wrong? You want to go to sites that are there for the love, not the money. And that would be VictorianSweatshop.com, ismacs.org is Max. I think somebody else has bought the .com and put ads all over it. I could be wrong on that. One of the domains has been polluted. It's still got all the stuff but covered with ads, and the other one is still the original thing.
The one that you find in the show notes of this episode will be the correct one. I will have vetted it and verified it before I put it in the show notes.
And for serious collectors, like of old school machines, I would say go to Ismax first. And there's also some scholarly books out there. It's a fellow named Carter Bays has a book. Charles Law has a book. But these are like, serious collector history, valuable, and machines that old are valuable, right? They're not your average singer that was made in the millions. So who do you trust? Who do you learn from? As many people as you can listen to, and then toss out the extremes at both ends. And in the middle is probably the stuff you should listen to.
Right. Yeah. Go to YouTube and find someone with a potato phone just managing to barely get content out there, but they are really, really knowledgeable. That is the highest quality information. Low production value, high density.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of, hey, welcome back to my channel. Remember to like and subscribe. Anyway, today
Right.
No, you just want a grandma that leaps right into it. And like the light is good, but why can't she just tilt the camera to have like an even plane? Watch a lot of those. The aggregate of that is the good information, generally speaking, for any hobby. Like that's the way to do it. If they all say the same thing, if 7 different grandmas with potato phones are all saying the same thing, it's true. This is millennial wisdom here. This is how to get information from the internet.
We're talking grandma hobbies here. So, yeah. And, my brother, he's 61. Finally, a few years ago, convinced him into making little short videos to show how he did certain things on motorcycles and whatever.
Exactly.
Engine nerdery. Because he has a lot of creative solutions. He's one of the top mechanics in the valley here.
Right. And he has no desire to do video production. So his videos are going to be straightforward, to the point, exactly what you want. No frills, no SEO, no like, share, and subscribe. Nope. None of that. Just here it is. Here's what it did. It's very well lit. Anyway, moving on.
Yep. You'll see the beer cans on the floor.
Exactly. Those are the people who know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And you can always ask us, because if we don't know, we'll find somebody who does. We're just like that. Where to collect machines? How to collect machines wisely, remember? Okay, wisely. eBay, I don't think, is a wise place to buy sewing machines because shipping costs. Sewing machines are heavy, and it takes a lot of know-how to pack them right. So if you've got a seller on eBay who that's what they do is sewing machines, you could look at their stuff. If you're going to buy one from far away, you want a 319W in green, and Joe's Sewing Machines in Big Timber, Montana has that exact one, and you're willing to pay $70 shipping. There you go. He's a sewing machine guy. But somebody who's just like, I bought this at a yard sale. I don't know if it works. Look at the pictures. Don't buy that. Just don't. If you're a beginning collector, you don't know what you're getting into. Where to buy machines? Go to Facebook Marketplace, go to Craigslist, go to yard sales, go to thrift stores. But people who know what they've got and are selling, at hundreds of dollars, and you're buying their time. Okay, maybe if it works, and all that goes back to who do you trust? When you find one at a yard sale or a thrift store, or as we say, in the wild, how do you evaluate and decide if you want to take this home? And now we get back to free machines are not free. First of all, you're going to carry it to the car and figure out how to get it in.
Right. We've talked about basic evaluation of the mechanics of this, but now maybe a little more philosophical, like, how do you know this is the machine for you, even if it passes the sniff test mechanically?
Yeah. And look, is it an emotional trigger? Is it one of those, it's still good, I could save it? Oh, when that one comes up for me, because that one does. It's really good. They don't make them like that. I could fix it. It's still usable. But then I remember I've got 8 or 10 of those in the garage already, unfixed. Put my foot down. No. One in, one out. That's how I manage that. And the emotional side, leave some for other people. Don't be unfair to that old sewing machine by locking it up in your garage when there's a kid right behind you who's going to buy it and fix it up because he's making bags, right? It's selfish to collect stuff, I think, personal opinion, stuffing things in the garage that you're going to get to someday Don't lowball me. I know what I got. This happens with classic cars, and it happens with old sewing machines. That's worth something. Refer to our What's It Worth episode. So, how to evaluate a machine? It goes back to, why are you buying it? If it's pink, all you need is it looks good. It looks cool. You don't care if it works. You don't care about the wiring. You don't care if it turns. It's pink and shiny. Good to go. $14.99. Have that strong young person carry it out to the car for you. Use your senior discount, damn it. But if you're going to use it for a tool, then you got to, okay, can you fix what's wrong? If not, but here's the main thing. Here's the main 4 things if you're looking at a machine. Completeness. Slide plates, bobbin cases, controllers, attachments. Some machines, the bobbin case is going to be $100 if you can find it, right? Completeness. Movement. This is the old classic, grab the wheel and turn. Does it move? Look down at the underneath where the bobbin is. Does that part move? If that's not moving, but the top is, you got broken gears. Pass. And the biggie, wiring. This is where it scares most people off. Just physically grab the wire and run your finger along it like a shoelace. Is it good? If you can see the insulation crumbling off and that scares you, you're not going to get to it. Just don't. Everything else. But it passes that test, or you're like, yeah, I can do wiring, soldering, no problem. You might even plug it in if you're confident. See if lights come on. You might not. You might say, I would take that home. And the last thing is cosmetic condition, cleanliness. I've run into machines that are just coated with crap. Do you want to put the time in on that? There's plenty of clean ones out there. But if this is that green 319W, then yeah, man. Go get me some soft T-shirts and some mechanics hand cleaner and go for it. And then, of course, price. But even then, if this was free, it's not free. So you got to check. Does it fit your thing? What do you plan to do with it? Does it fit your collecting goal? It's pink. Yay! Or what do you plan to do with it? Study it. You can take it apart. You can sell it. Geez, I got a featherweight for $10. I know they're worth at least $300. Are you going to rehab it? Maybe for yourself or to sell it. Are you going to use it? Are you going to gift it? Are you going to part it out? All these things come into play when you're standing there looking at the So-O-Matic 9 million. Does it fit your collecting goal? Because you got to have a collecting goal before you go out. Are you collecting? Are you just looking for one machine? In either case, you need to narrow down what it is you're looking for. Make a list of features even. I don't want this. I do want that. Look at pictures. Go on forums. And no, there is no one best machine. There just isn't. People are going to ask you, what are you going to do with it? What do you want to sew? Well, it's just pink and it goes with my other pink machines. Yeah, far out. You don't even need a manual. You can even clip the wires off if you want. No, don't do that. Don't amputate the tail.
No, disassemble.
Oh, like in Brave Little Toaster. When I cut
No!
the cord off the blender and everybody's...
So I have a fun little twist I want to add to this for anyone who's listening to this who is less of a sewing machine person and more of a D&D person.
Ooh.
So you said how to collect sewing machines wisely. And so in D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, the game and all of its permutations, there's a character is built up of different stats of different numbers, and that's kind of how you determine, if someone's a weak little magic user or a big strong Hulk smash kind of person, right? There's different
so like baseball stats.
All
right.
Yeah. And one of these is wisdom and another one is intelligence, and it's a fun thing to see how people will describe the difference between intelligence and
Yeah.
wisdom, because sometimes those maybe feel like synonyms. So you said how to collect machines wisely. So I was like, I'm going to go look up some, funny little memes or whatever
Oh,
about the
okay,
difference between
okay.
wisdom and intelligence to see if we can, put
Yeah,
another spin on this. And so I found one from
yeah.
Reddit, which says, intelligence is knowing the difference between a demon and a devil. Wisdom is knowing not to summon either. So I feel like
Ooh.
in the context of sewing machines, intelligence is saying that is the Singer Sew-O-Matic 9000W, whatever. Wisdom is knowing that literally like 50 million of those were made and you don't need to save it.
Yeah. Right.
Trying
Right.
trying to just put it into that context, knowing that you
Yeah.
have a cool thing
Yeah.
or knowing what it is. Like, yeah, it's a good machine. It's amazing. It'll run till the heat death of the universe. But you can also have enough discernment to realize that you don't need that. Someone else can have that. It's fine.
Oh, it's really tough. It's really tough sometimes. I've been into vintage sewing machines since I was in my early 20s, and I'm in my early 60s now. I've gone through a hoarding cycle 3 times, and I'm talking hoarding. I'm not talking collecting. Hoarding meaning keeping junk that really isn't worth anything, and it got bad. I don't want anyone to start hiding their hobby from their partner because they're embarrassed about it or they know there's something wrong. That's not good. You want to share that thing. Hey, honey, I'm really into sewing machines. And if you find any pink shiny ones, that could be a great Christmas present or whatever. Sometimes I live in an RV and I've got lots of off-site storage because I have too many sewing machines. It would be over the weight limit for one thing.
Yeah, you do live a very spatially challenged life. Sewing's a big hobby. It just is. Like, it does not mesh well with being highly mobile.
No, but that's coming winding down next spring. I'm moving into a house, actually a house and a cabin, and I'm going to have room for 21 of my sewing machines. And here's the thing, folks. Only half of them work because the other half are taken apart. They're in restoration progress. I don't have anything that's just sitting that hasn't been touched since I acquired it. Everything is making progress in its restoration. Each one has its little pieces in a margarine can or something, with it. I've only lost a few things so far. It's still bad. It's still bad because I've seen a few and I have to go, well, I have the space physically, I have the money, but what I don't have is the attention span, the storage thing. What am I going to do with it? Am I even going to remember that I have it? Am I going to buy another one because I forgot I had this one? Right? So storage kind of goes into your brain. So right now I've got everything from a little pink. I painted it pink because I wanted it pink. little, Singer So Handy, the little kids machine. I love it. It's fun. It works. I do decorative things with it. I like functional antiques. See what I'm saying? I'm really not into this shelf full of things that don't work. That could change once I get more space because rule number 47, junk expands to fill available space. If you buy a new bookcase, then you're going to want to buy new books. If you give a mouse a cookie.
I need new bookcases because my books and my bookcases aren't well sized to each other. All my bookcases are fiction sized and nonfiction books are, as a rule, bigger. It's awkward.
That's true, especially a lot of the coffee table geology books and stuff. So anyway, when you're planning your collection, if you're planning to sew, I buy all my machines because they do a thing that I want to sew. I don't just buy machines because every one I have has a thing that it does that the other ones don't do. I don't have any duplicates at this point of like, oh, this does the same as that. Okay, I've got the 101 and I've got the 301. Those are both straight stitch. 101's in a cabinet, 301's a portable. slant needle, straight needle, reverse. So they're not the same. You're not taking the 101 to the quilt gathering. It's not going to happen. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 zigzags, but each one is different, So anyway, know what you have. And I like to get mine out and sew on them at least one project a year on each one. If I have more than that, that's too many. And now, okay, I'm just going to leave you with this, folks. I'm to the point now where I don't want, I think, one more sewing machine. I think I want a Singer 24 or a Wilcox and Gibbs is the last thing on my collection list. But I really get a thrill out of showing other people how to use machines they already have or want to get. That way I'm not collecting the metal. I'm using what I've collected in my mind to help the metal that's already there. And that's a very recent, that's about 5 years ago that I came to the conclusion that I don't really want to collect machines. I want to keep collecting knowledge and sharing knowledge and helping people. If you've got grandma's treadle in your front room and gosh, but you don't know anything about it and it needs a belt, isn't that like hard to get? You need me. If you've got a question, please do write to us because we're a niche audience here and we can keep it, If you do write to us, let us know if we can read your letter on the air and where you're at. Stay threaded.
And there you have it, the start of another season of Used to Sew. We talked about what has changed since we started the podcast, what we are excited to tackle in this upcoming season of the show, and also got into a main topic. Our main topic today was how to navigate the joys and challenges of collecting vintage sewing machines. While I personally don't have this urge too much, I certainly can empathize with it in other mediums. And I think all of us with any propensity for goblin brain can relate to some degree. D&D nerds are famously obsessed with the math rocks that go click-clack, known to regular people as dice. Next week, we will tackle another one of the notoriously frustrating questions that gets asked in sewing machine circles far too often. Will it sew leather? Until next time, remember that we are unofficially sponsored by expert-level collector Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, who do repairs and restorations. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and you can support us by sharing the podcast with your friends and also with money at patreon.com/used2sew. Thank you for listening to us here at Used to Sew. We always welcome your additions, corrections, and feedback in general. Please reach out to us via email at usedtosew@gmail.com. Used to Sew is a production of Fox and Raven Media. For more podcasts from Fox and Raven Media, visit our website at foxandravenmedia.com.